You guys know about the good that Ron DeSantis has done down there for Florida, banning mask mandates. Still feel free to wear your mask, making sure that individual liberty and freedoms are protected to the fullest extent that he is allowed to. But yet you have different school boards. You have different other Democratic elected officials trying to usurp his executive order under the auspices of safety. What Ron DeSantis is doing, allowing people to put the safety and put their own security in their own hands, based exactly what a fucking governor, exactly what an elected official should do. But again, then you have those authoritarians in elected positions wanting to tell you how you should be safe. And that's what we find here. Florida students placed in isolation or quarantined due over new COVID-19 protocols. Students. You know, the kids who can still get vaccinated, but they aren't going to be vaccinated under the full approved auspices of the same vaccine that they could possibly get, even if they were over the age of 16, okay? And these aren't high school kids, okay? These aren't kids that are 17 and 18 years old. They're much younger. And what this is doing, okay, whenever they go after the kids, okay, this is always just extra pernicious and extra evil, at least in my opinion, okay? I don't have any kids, okay? And I'm not going to do that old hack joke, at least none that I know of. I guess I kind of did it by proxy, so forgive me for that one. But what you're doing, like, kids are sponges intellectually. What they see, they'll pick up, they'll incorporate into their developing personality. And then once you start telling them, oh, guess what, little Timmy, that test that we made you take, that Q-tip that we stuck down your throat, yeah, even though you don't feel anything different than you did this morning, you're just going to have to go into this white room, sit by yourself, wait for your parents to show up and take you home, and then you can come back in 2 weeks. Or if you continue to get probed and then you come back with 2 negative tests, then you can see the rest of your friends. Oh, you won't be able to see them face to face though, because if you're face to face, you're still going to have to wear your mask. And even when you sit in your little chair at your little desk, you're still going to have little plexiglass dividers around you, like you're in a fucking science experiment, like you're in a fucking zoo. But it's all for your safety, and it won't be detrimental to you growing up and then just being deferential to authority to such a incredible extent, and so sheltered from the horrors of the world that you definitely won't be crippled when you're going out there in 10 years' time. These people are sick. This is child abuse. This is like actual mental child abuse that nobody wants to talk about. The way that elected officials, okay, how their parents raised them at home, that's another discussion for another time, because there's a big dereliction of duty and all that kind of jazz. But we're talking about the people who you entrust your fucking kids to if you still keep them in public school. Those people who don't give a fuck. You've probably been to school, okay? You probably hung around with people who became teachers. They were always the party animals. They were the ones who didn't know what they wanted to do in the school, and then you bump into them at the supermarket, you bump into them at the game, and then it's like, hey, what you doing with your life? Oh, I became a teacher. That's weird, because it's that old saying, those who can't do, teach. And those who can't get a job in the private sector, become teachers. Hop on that government tit. Worked for Joe. He finally achieved his lifelong dream of becoming the president. 81 million people, can't be wrong. As schools reopened in Florida, several parents in Flagler County received weekend phone calls saying their children were on a list because they may, again, have been exposed to someone who may have COVID-19. Literally, me running outside every day, getting my miles in, I may see somebody who has COVID-19. I may see them from across the street. I may see somebody who may have been in contact. You see how fucking retarded this is? This just encompasses everybody, okay? You go out to the office, you're going to see somebody who may have seen somebody else who has the Coof, okay? Okay? What are we doing here? Why haven't we done this with any other fucking disease in the world, with any other virus in the world? Because it's fucking insane. Again, extrapolate it out, okay? Take the example of racism, okay? Another public health crisis right now, obviously. It's been designated that because these institutions, man, they're totally fucked. You can denigrate white people until you're fucking blue in the face. Call them whatever the hell you want. The most despicable, vile shit. But immediately, as soon as you change that from white to black or brown, who gives a shit? You just change the race from white people bad to Asians bad all of a sudden? Oh, shit. And then it's blacks. Oh, my God. You can't be saying that kind of stuff because that's racist. But then again, as soon as you just change the subject a little bit and you keep applying the same criticisms to it, all of a sudden it's a little bit more valid because it's the people that you don't like. Do the exact same stuff with all this Coof propaganda, all this other horse shit that you see from the fucking media. Just change COVID-19 to the seasonal flu. Change it to the common cold. Why aren't we doing anything like that? Those viruses are still deadly, okay? Why aren't we going through all of those provisions for that? Because it's not about the virus. It stopped being about the virus after, day 3 of that initial 15 days to flatten the curve? Something like that. It's all about control at this point. Case in point, let's get back to this. On August 8th, Jessico Bowman, a director for Florida Liberty Caucus, received a call from a person she claimed she was from the health department. Interesting. She would not give her name, nor would she identify with the health department she represented. I regret to inform you that your daughter may have been exposed to COVID, the woman said. I don't have a daughter, Bowman told the woman. I have a son. Okay, this is getting fucking creepy. It's like those telemarketer scams. I'm with the company that's in control of the phones. Okay. I have TELUS. Are you with TELUS? Yes, I'm with TELUS. Oh, okay, actually I have Bell. Click, bye. When Bowman was asked what list she was talking about, the woman said it was just this list. What kind of an accent did she have, and was she talking about getting off on time so she could go home and catch more? She was given, and she explained that her son may have been exposed to somebody who may have COVID-19. When she asked what she meant by may have and asked where her son was exposed, the woman said she cannot tell her anything except that her son has been placed on a list. How many red flags do you guys have in your head over this one? Because I have at least a handful. This is fucking creepy. How'd you get a hold of this lady? Okay. How do you know that she has kids? You couldn't even get the sex right. I won't say that fucking made up word. How are you this uninformed about the situation? And how do you not know what company you work for? A whole host of other things as well. And not telling people your fucking name. Like, how are you supposed to be taken seriously on this one? Unless you're trying to string somebody on for this conversation in order to document it down. Wouldn't you have hung up by now? The woman then asked if her son has been vaccinated. Again, this is something you should fucking know, but okay. Bowman refused to provide that information. Hey, you can't provide me with your name? I don't need to provide you with any of that information. Go fuck yourself. The woman then told Bowman if her son could provide a vaccine card, interesting, proving he is vaccinated, he could go back to Just get the jab, Timmy. You can go back to normal. Just prove that you're normal. Like that other statement out there. Sir, when did you stop beating your wife? See how loaded that shit is? You can go back to normal. Just do exactly what you say, and then we'll decide what normal is. And return to class on Monday. Otherwise, he would not be allowed to go back to school for 4 days. And he said if he doesn't get tested, it would be 8 days. So again, unless this kid has a fruity name, you should just go back to school. Don't bother telling him any of this shit. So what are they going to do? The next day, Bowman's son went to the bus stop, but the bus never arrived. What? So Bowman drove her son to school. Later that morning, the school nurse said that her son may had been quarantined and will be isolated unless she comes to pick him up. Holy fuck. The nurse reiterated that the child had been exposed to COVID-19 and was on a list. Again, these empty-headed, low-information motherfuckers. See how easily we went from, oh, we're all in this together, to we're going to segregate your child, put him in a fucking dank room until you come and remove him for the betterment of everyone. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. No one will tell us what this list is, and that they keep telling my son may be exposed to COVID or may have been in close contact with somebody who may have had COVID. So my son starts texting me saying, you need to come get me. They have me in a COVID room and there's someone monitoring us so we can't talk. What? So they can't talk to other kids. I want this entire school burnt down. That'll make sure that nobody gets the Coof, right? It's just for their safety. My son felt like he was in school suspension. Know what that's like. Like he had done something wrong. Yeah, but he may have seen somebody with maze. They were very rude to him. Yeah, because what they're doing is they're creating an in-group, out-group situation where anybody who's in the out-group, there's nothing off limits to how you treat them. This is fucking sick. I completely understand your concerns, the newly appointed principal for the Indian Trails Middle School, Ryan Andrews, replied to an email of the complaint by Bowman. Currently, your student will be excused from school until August 21st until we hear something different from the Department of Health. The Department of Health. The department. Any work he is unable to complete at home may have up to the same amount of days he was absent to turn in and return to his school. Take your kids out of public schools. This should serve as the highest tier warning. With our student iPads, we have to log in to Schoolology. Again, this sounds fucking alien. His teachers may post work, content, and resources for students to complete digitally. Yeah, and all the students will be using that once they lock down the schools again for the winter. Just wait. He and his teachers can communicate through Schoolology on our school emails. Let me apologize for the improper treatment. Yeah, but we'll just go ahead and compensate you for that improper treatment with more improper treatment. Fuck off. It's eventually just going to end up in the courts. We can't allow this shit to continue, okay? There's some good signs coming from different courts out there. And then once Florida, Ron DeSantis's mask mandate ban, okay? Remember, he's banning the explicit enforcement of using masks. Not if you want to use a mask. Telling people that they have to use masks. And people are so butthurt by that, mostly because it's some different form of Trump derangement syndrome. DeSantis derangement syndrome doesn't quite flow off the tongue the same way. But it's just red man bad. So if this one ends up breaking on the side of these fucking weirdos, I don't know what to say. Texas, it's looking like that shit doesn't really fucking fly there, which could be a good thing. Now, is it going to happen in Florida? Well, there's going to be plenty of precedent that they could just look a couple of states over and then just realize, they didn't want to go ahead with this. Let's see what happens in Punta Gorda, Florida. Now, speaking of things that easily roll off the tongue, that's just fun to say. Punta Gorda, Florida. A Florida judge in Leon County has cleared the way for parents to have their day in court over the tussle regarding school mask mandate policies. A lawsuit was filed in early August by parents opposed to the governor's order banning school districts from imposing mask mandates without the option of the parents to opt out by written statement. The judge on August 19th sided with parents and said that they had the legal right to sue over the state's arguments. Send your kid to school with a fucking mask. Now, whether or not they want to wear it is totally and completely up to them, just because you're a paranoid fucking nut job. They're probably one of these idiots that think that wearing a mask is somehow protecting them. It's just never how the science has ever checked out. You can look at thousands of studies at this point. It's all about transmitting the virus out to other people. If you think you want to virtue signal and do that, fucking be my guest. Go right for it. I see people riding their fucking bikes wearing a mask. It's the dumbest shit imaginable. But hey, if they want to go out there and do that, be my fucking guest. It's ultimately your choice, okay? And then I'm responsible for my reaction to that, and I can laugh at your dumbass. A lawsuit was filed in, yes, early August, and now it's going to be heard. The initial complaint made by St. Petersburg attorney Charles Gallagher argued that the governor's order impairs the safe operation of schools. Nebulous. Can you go ahead and provide receipts for that? No? Okay. In the complaint, he wrote that the governor's order took away districts' constitutional powers to operate, supervise, and control schools. That shouldn't be in there, but okay. Under their supervision. Interesting. Again, this is just a snippet from a very favorable interpretation of situations. So, again, we're going to have its day in court. Governor Ron DeSantis' attorney, Michael Abel, sure, had moved to dismiss the case, but Judge John Cooper said the case deserved to be considered on its merits rather than dismiss it. Wow, it should be nice if there were other cases that were out there that should have been heard on their merits instead of just dismissed outright. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but hey, whatever. He said he wanted to hear the evidence in the case. Okay, what would that be? Like, do they got like a study or something? Do they just got some fucking 300-pound Karens waddling in? So, I want my kid to drop dead, and I have the right to send them with Lunchables and shit, and they don't have to go to gym class if they don't want to, because my shins hurt. Fuck off. Governor Ron DeSantis' attorney also said, this was Judge John Cooper continued to say, this case needs to be heard and a record should be made. Okay, so he just wants to make precedent. Interesting. I'm dealing with a good group of lawyers who will present evidence in this case. I look forward to hearing your arguments. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he kind of just has this God complex, which isn't necessarily foreign to judges, but at the same time, he wants to put this down on record, whether or not governors have the right to tell people that they have the right to choose. Interesting, because it always comes down to these crazy people, man, because I would guarantee they were all about my body, my choice, until they have the opportunity to just flex their authority on other people. In a nearly 3-hour-long meeting, the judge said, "I do believe the parents have a right to challenge the governor. They will have the right to their case heard. I am not deciding whether they are right or wrong. We will have to see what evidence shows. So far, 5 Florida County school districts are in non-compliance with the governor's order by allowing those children with medical exemptions to opt out of mask wearing." Oh my God. "Without consideration for the protection of parental choice as laid out in the Parents' Bill of Rights." Interesting. Yeah, again, there's going to be a hell of a lot of evidence on the side of, hey, governors have the right to control what the fuck is going on. But then again, these are judges, man. I was a little bit wrong with the Trevor Bauer judge, but again, hindsight being 2020, women hate women more than anybody else. So in that situation, and then you got this old dusty fucking Judge Cooper here. Got to see what his temperament is and all of this stuff. So I will be very interested once this ends up hitting his desk, and that'll be starting today, and we'll expect a ruling on Thursday. So perhaps we'll get an update Thursday or Friday on that guy. So stay tuned, I guess, because this one's going to be important, at least for the United States. Canada's still fucked. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.